Hello, fellow data enthusiasts. Welcome back to another exciting Python Pandas tutorial. Today we are diving deep into the world of handling missing data using the fill-NA method. Missing data can be a real headache, but fear not, because we have got some awesome methods to tackle those pesky NaN values. So let's get started. First things first, let's identify which rows in our data frame have NaN values. This can be crucial for understanding the scope of missing data. Let's load in the Excel file and then check out what rows have NaN values. Okay, so we got our data frame in df variable. The way we check the NaN values is doing .isNA. So what we can do is df.isNA, and this will give us a true false. Now we can sum this up, say .sum. Alright, so I've done ahead of the data frame, so we can see the top 3 rows and the columns that are available. We can see here we have data missing in 15 different rows for customer type and payment column. Okay, so the above method gives us sum of isNA values from all of the columns. We can check specific column as well. So to check NA values in a specific column, we can select the column using the data frame name and then the column name, and then doing .isNA. So same as before, we just add the column name here as well. So this will again give us a boolean true false. Now we need to wrap this inside of a data frame, and this should give us all of those rows where customer type is NaN. So we can see here all of those rows have customer type as NaN. Now we will work for different methods. Now on to our first method. Sometimes all you need is a straightforward fix. How about filling all those missing values with a specific value? So let's use missing underscore value as a scalar value for our example. So we quickly create a copy of our original data frame. We create a new variable called df underscore method1 and put it equal to df.copy. This will create a copy of our original data frame and store it in df underscore method1. Next thing we will do is we will put df underscore method1 equal to itself and then say .fill_NA, and this is where you will give the value that you want to be filled in all of those NaN values. Let's run it. Now let's check all those rows where customer type equals missing value. These are the rows where it was NaN before and now it says missing underscore value. So if we go a bit above, we should see at serial number 6 there should be a NaN value, and you can see this is NaN, and 14 is also NaN. This should also be filled with missing value, as we can see here. With a single line, we replaced all NaN values with missing underscore value. This could be something different. Very simple, yet very effective. Now we can also customize or fill values for different columns. That's where method 2 comes in handy. So let's create a copy of our original data frame. Let's create a new column using our existing rating column, and any rating higher than 7 will note as high rating. Other rows will remain as blank. So we write a simple function that says update rating. What it will do is it will check all of those rows from the rating column and see if the rating is greater than 7, then it will return high rating. If it's not true, then it will just return a NaN. Let me quickly add a head here so we can see what existing columns we have. Okay, we can see we don't have the rating category right now. The way we use it is we give the new column name and then we put it equal to old one and .apply, and then we give the function name. Let me run this. And run successfully, it means the new column has been added. Now what we can do is we can check what values are available in the rating category column using value counts, and we will also use drop NA equals false. Let's run it, and we can see there are 62 NaN values. Rest 191 rows have high rating. Now let's double check our NaN values from rating category column using .isNA like we did before, and then we use head method to just show us top 5 rows, and we can see rating category has none value in it. For our second method, we will use a dictionary to replace multiple values. We will give the column name and then the value to fill, and then the column name, value to fill, just like a dictionary. So for rating category, we will fill the missing value with low rating, and for the payment category where it's missing, we will fill it with not known. So let's run it. Now let's check again the value count so we can see what value appears how many times in rating category column. And now we can see we have high rating as 191, which was the same before, high rating 191, and none was 62, which should now be converted into low rating. This means we were able to successfully fill the blank values. We can check the same for payment column, and we can see we have cash, e-wallet, credit card, and then 15 entries not known. Alright, we can see that this method works fine. This method is very successful when you have multiple columns and you want to fill different values for different columns. Moving on to method 3. We will leverage existing information from other columns. Method 3 allows us to fill NaN values in one column with the values from another. For method 3, we will use another dataset which consists of employee name, address, job, supervisor, and manager. So let's load it, and let's look at the head method to check the top 3 rows. You can see we have employee, employee name, address, job, supervisor, and manager. Now you can see one of the supervisor has NaN value, which means for some employees, we have supervisor names missing, and we are assuming that they report directly to the managers. So we want supervisor value to fill with manager's name where supervisor name is missing. Alright, so again, we will use value underscore counts method on supervisor column, and we can see we have 11 rows where supervisor column is blank. Right, so we will do this using fill NA by filling the supervisor name with the manager's name. So for example, the manager name here is Michael Dell. It will be filled in the supervisor column, and same for all those rows where supervisor name is missing. Okay, so we select the supervisor column from method 3, and we then say dot fill NA, and then we give it the name of the specific column from which we want the value to be filled back to the original column. That is the manager column. So what we are saying is wherever the supervisor name is missing, fill the value with manager's name. So let's run it. Keep in mind that this has run successfully, but it's not updating the value of supervisor column, so we will need it to put it equal to itself. We can also use in place parameter, where it's always better to use reassignment instead of in place parameter, which is not recommended. So we run this and then we check this again using value counts, and you can see previously it was 11 NaN rows. Now I don't see any NaN rows. This is a smart way to fill gaps in your data using the information you already have. Last but not least, method 4 involves using the mean value of a column to fill in the missing value. This can be especially useful for numerical data. We will use total column from our customer dataset. The total column has some rows where the value is 0. Let's create a copy of this data frame. We store it in df underscore method 4. Some rows in total column has 0 value. So what we will do is we will first replace these values with NaN so our fill NA can work. We'll do that using loc and filter indexing. And once we have replaced the zeros, we can see that if we filter equal to 0, we do not see any specific rows. Now, let's check first 10 rows of total column for reference later once we fill the NaN values. We can see we have NaN at row 2, 3, and 7. Okay, so we do this the same way. So we select the column name, put it equal to itself. Then we say dot fill NA, and here we select the column from which we want mean. We want mean from the same column. So df method 4 dot total, and then we use the mean function. Let's run it. Let's check the top 10 rows again. And now we see we have 305.15 at row 2, 3, and 7, which we can double check from here. 2, 3, and 7, which means our fill NA worked successfully. This method is a great way to maintain the overall statistical integrity of your data. And there you have it, folks. These are just a few powerful ways to handle missing data using the fill NA method in Pandas. Remember, data cleaning is a crucial step in any data analysis project. Experiment with these methods and find out what works best for your data set. This winds up the video. I hope you like the content. If you do, support the channel by liking and subscribing, and I'll see you next time.